Hey, it's me again, Blueski, here with another story. So, this one I am going to call this one Massage No Envy. And here goes. So, this one particular day, a couple of years ago, I was having a very bad day. And I don't know if I got fired from a job or something, but I can't remember. But I know it was just a horrible day. So I used to have this lady who used to massage me on a regular, but this particular weekend she was out of town. So I was forced to find somebody else to give me a massage. So I looked through the newspaper and I found something, and it was a massage place behind the Red Lobster here in my town. So I went to the place, and I'm not a smoker, so I don't even smoke cigarettes, anything like that. So I was so mad, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna smoke some Black & Milds. Didn't know what to buy them from. So after probably an hour of searching stores, I found one and I purchased a whole pack of Black & Milds. So you know what? I said, I'm having a bad day, so I'm just smoking them. I went through the whole pack in 20 minutes. Didn't know how to smoke, didn't know how to hold them. Should I go or that's not a manual on how to smoke Black & Milds correctly. So I found this massage place, and when I went in, just from the outside it looked like a dump. But when I went in, I heard a lot of moaning and stuff, so I just thought somebody was getting a really good massage. So the young receptionist at the window, she came and she was like, first of all, she was like really sweaty. But the AC was on, and this is in the summertime, so I'm like, well, why is she so sweaty? Maybe she has uncontrollable sweat glands or something like that. So she peeked through you know how the dentist office, they have that little sliding door glass window that you can't see into it, and they slide it. So she did that. She's like, come back in 5 minutes. And I was like, okay. So I'm laughing because I actually have someone here that's sitting here watching me do this video. So anyway, so I finally came back. So I was walking up to the building and I saw that it was this very obese man. He was walking out and he looked like he had been baptized or something because he had a lot of sweat on him. So I wasn't thinking. I just like, hey, that was a really good massage. So I go in, and then this fine Asian receptionist, she was like, what would you like? I said, I like a massage. So she was like, great, well, come on back and we'll get you settled and everything. She was hot, she was fine. And I've always wanted to get with an Asian woman. So she took me to the room, which is typical. Normally when I get a massage, I probably strip down to my boxer briefs or whatever. So she told me to lay down on the table and get ready, and she'll be back in 5 minutes. So when I get a massage, I typically go to sleep. I have a little drool coming out, snoring and stuff like that, but it's relaxing, so that's the norm. So, she came back in. I never lifted my head up, so I'm laying down on the table, and they put your head in a little cushion thing, and you got the hole to breathe. So she's talking, and I'm like, yeah, Never bothered to look up to see that it wasn't the receptionist that checked me in. So she started giving me a massage and everything, and I'm enjoying it. I'm going to sleep, and I'm trying to calm down from the bad day that I had. So she started massaging me and everything, and I think this happens a lot with men. You get an erection, but that's what happens. It's totally normal, right? So the whole time I never looked up. So she flipped me over, and now I am laying on my back and full erection. But I got the little sheet and underwear to suppress it. And so she's massaging me, and man, I'm still traumatized by this to this day. So she started, massaging my shoulders and going down to my biceps and my legs and stuff. And then I kind of noticed she was getting a little closer to my private area. But I was like, hey, it's a woman, whatever, cool. So she stayed down there for like a while. She wasn't touching any part of my body, but she kept getting closer and closer. And of course, I kept getting excited and more excited. So I never opened my eyes because, I'm trying to sleep. So all of a sudden, she like brushed across my shaft. And I was like, "Ooh, out of control, out of control." But it kind of felt good. But I was just like, "No, I'm mad. I need this massage." So all of a sudden, no lie, hand to God, she yanks the sheet back, and I'm thinking, well, she's gonna do something, because the Chinese people, they're very they do a commendable job at their massages. So all of a sudden, she grabs my penis and she starts to jack it, and I open my eyes, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, this is not the lady that checked me in. So again, I got that pre-diarrhea feeling in my stomach going on, and she starts jacking me. Let me describe to you how this lady looks. I don't know if many of you guys are familiar with the karate game, Mortal Kombat. You remember Raven? I guess he had like the electrical powers, but he had the hat on. It looked like a tiki hut or something. But for her, it was a wig, and it looked like a Dorito or a pyramid or something. And she had to be about 85, pushing 90. And she looked old, but she wasn't that old, because the Chinese people, they eat very healthy and they age almost like African Americans. A little youth, but a little wrinkle here, a little wrinkle there, and stuff. Whatever. You get the point. So while she's jacking me off, she's like, "Sucky, sucky, $100. I jack you long time." And I'm like, I was so shocked I couldn't move. I don't know if you guys remember Cops. You know how they used to set up the prostitution ring bus, and they come in, and they come in with the cameras and stuff like this. That's what I thought was going to happen. But so I finally got up the nerve to like, "Oh, stop. I refuse to. No." So I gathered all my clothes, and I almost ran out the building naked. But I went to the front and I put on my clothes and I jetted out of there so fast. Now, if it had been the younger receptionist, I would have turned a blind eye, but it wasn't. It was the great grandmother. Look, I was getting molested by memoirs of a geisha, and it wasn't a good sight. So, I went home. I even forgot about what I was mad about that whole day. So, I went home. I'm driving around, and I debated about this, and I told my cousin about it, and she laughed at the situation. But I was like, I had my civil rights violated. Whatever, being molested by a memoir of a geisha falls under the Civil Rights Act or whatever. So who could I call? Nobody. I'm a man. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do the right thing, because something just wasn't sitting right in my spirit about this. So I went down to the local police department. I'm walking in. I was a little nervous because I had warrants out at the time, but it was okay. So I was like, "Hi, how are you? My name is Mr. Blueski, and I like to do a formal complaint and possibly file a police report." So the police officer, which was a man, he was like, "Well, asking me all these questions." I was a little uncomfortable because there was other people out there, and they don't take you to a room like they do on Law and Order Special Victims Unit. That's what I was expecting. So, they're just asking me all these questions right then and there. And I was like, I went and got a massage, and I was molested, and the lady started beating me off, but she was like 80 years old. So by this time, another cop came up, and he's listening to the story, eating a Snicker bar and stuff like this. So they started laughing at me, and I'm like, "What are you laughing about? I was sexually assaulted. I was borderline raped by a geisha." And they started laughing at me. I said, "This is not funny. As an African American male, my rights were violated. I would like to press charges." They literally laughed at me, which is why I have no faith in the police department in my city. Because if I had been a woman, they would have made a Lifetime movie out of this or something. It would have been on the news, something, but not in my case. So this is what the police officer said. He said, "Dude, just jump it up and go on." So, I went home, and, I was feeling some type of way about this. I understand how people that get raped, how they feel, because I literally got raped, but, it was just frontal rape with a hand. No lube. So now I got 3rd-degree jack burns, and, it's like a carpet burn, but on my penis, and that's really painful. So, no lie, maybe 2 weeks later, that same massage place was busted for prostitution. Moral of the story: go to a reputable massage place like Massage Envy, not Massage No Envy. Yeah. It's still painful, but I got over it, and it is what it is.